Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another video. So, Linux. We're not just talking about any Linux, we're going to be talking about, today, old Linux. Specifically, ancient Linux. We have this DVD of Ubuntu 6 from, well, the DVD days of Linux, when you used to order them from the canonical Ship It service. Basically, what this is a DVD of Linux that you would get, well, on a DVD from this Ship It service. And most of these were applicable to older computers, like specifically, this is LTS for old machines, like the Pentium and the Athlon. Unfortunately, I don't have like my old AMD Athlon systems because I sold one of them on eBay, and one of them, the power supply died. Both of them were old compacts that I got from the e-waste center, unfortunately. So I'm hoping to find another one at the VCF swap meet. So instead, we have this another computer today. It's the oldest computer I own. Although it is an Intel-based system, it has a Core 2 Duo on it, which is still pretty old, and it has Windows 7. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using VirtualBox on this thing with this Ubuntu DVD. So let's just pop it in the computer, and we're going to set up a virtual machine. So I did try booting off of here, but unfortunately, because this OS is so old, it doesn't even have drivers to work on this machine's Intel integrated graphics. So we're going to set up this virtual machine. So the good news is that the disk was detected by the computer. We're going to be creating a fresh virtual machine. And we have the hard disk. We're just going to create this VM. And we're just going to add this to the settings to see if it can boot off of our DVD that we put in the drive. So storage, empty. We're going to be using the live CD, not IDE secondary devices 0. Oh, never mind. I think you have to go into general to find a boot device. Okay, so it's detected. We're going to boot this thing up, and we're going to hopefully see if we can actually boot into the live environment of Ubuntu, because, again, this is emulating a slightly older machine, because, yeah, it was designed for, like, these older machines, and unfortunately, again, I do not have one of them. Oof, so it failed to open a session. I have no idea what... I know I have... This is a vPro CPU inside this machine, so I do have it enabled. Now, since the ThinkPad unfortunately didn't work, it's time for another system, my main desktop. This does have an NVIDIA card in it, so we're gonna, at least hopefully this may work. We do have VMware Player installed on here, so let's try setting up yet another virtual machine. The good news is VMware was able to detect our copy of Ubuntu, and I think it's actually able to boot into it. So we're getting further than we did on VirtualBox at least, which is good. Again, we have that nice, good old school background from like the Windows 9X days. So, okay, booting the kernel. I just love the references to, like, the hilarious references in here. So we're gonna Control-Alt so I can be able to full screen this. Just making sure I'm not in the way of the camera. Okay, there we go. We're booting the kernel. Okay, so some juicy developments have occurred since the last filming the clip because it's been a day later. So firstly, for this VM to work, you literally have to change out around a couple of settings. So what I had to do is I literally had to firstly change the virtual machine's hard disk from SATA to IDE to basically get it to boot. That was the only thing I had to change. So now it does boot properly. So I'm gonna boot it up, and we're actually gonna be installing Ubuntu on this machine, which is gonna be nice. So this is gonna be, I'm sure you've seen this before. So we're gonna boot into Linux. Oh, never mind, I have to exit out of this so I can show you guys like the actual boot process. So we're gonna full screen, start and install Ubuntu, loading the Linux kernel with that Windows 9X looking taskbar. Okay, booting the kernel. So it is gonna create a live CD user account, which will be pretty nice. So it does blink here for a bit, but then it's gonna show the Ubuntu boot screen, which will be nice. Okay, so there it is, the Ubuntu boot screen. So we're going to be loading the essential drivers, mounting the root file system, moving the mount points, adding the live CD user. And if you hear any noises in the background, that's just the CD drive of the computer because, again, we're using the DVD on this machine. So, the camera does have a little bit of focus issues, but that's fine. We'll see you guys when the Ubuntu desktop does fully set up. There we go. Ubuntu is booting up on this thing. So it's loading the X Windows system, basically X11, which is a lot of fun. We're using a very early version of GNOME. You can see the GNOME logo, Nautilus, whatever that is, I'm not sure. And just to let you know, I'm not going to get graphic acceleration working on here because we don't even have VMware tools working. So let's install this for a complete test drive for this software. I've never really used early Linux distros, so let's give it a try. English, let's continue. Go forth. New York, that's our current time zone. The time isn't accurate, but we'll be fine with that. Like American English, that's our keyboard layout. We're almost done with this. Step 3 of 6. So again, we're gonna go like further, like with testing everything. Well, we're gonna have to fill in our account information. Yep, there we go. Our account is set up, and it's gonna erase the VMware disk. So we're gonna get ready to go. We're gonna install it. So you know what that means? Let's cue the time-lapse music. Now we're on the boot screen, okay, so not the boot screen, but the lock screen. It's this very beige Ubuntu screen, so we're gonna type in our username, which is, so here it is, here's the desktop. It looks vastly different from modern GNOME desktop environments because you know why? It, well, echoes the older design language, like older versions of Linux. So let's see what applications we have on here. We got some accessories, games, graphics, internet, office, and then sound and video. So let's start with some sound and video. So I did record this yesterday on an old iPad I have. So unfortunately, you cannot get, I couldn't get audio playback working, but let's try loading Mozilla. No, it doesn't have Thunderbird on here. Let's try graphics. How about good old GIMP? Everybody's favorite photo editor that everybody loves to hate. We all know and love GIMP. So let's create a brand new GIMP file. It's basically kind of like, again, Photoshop with MS Paint on steroids. So let's create a fresh file, 420 by 300, perfect. Let's create perfect. You know, this is Paul from the DNA Productions logo. I'm sure I'm like when he's like, "Hi, I'm Paul." There's Paul himself. Paul. There we go. So there he is. Let's see, can you add text? There we go. Hello. So that's perfect. This is all you want from a video editor, not a video editor, but a photo editor. Let's save this as well. Masterpiece. Perfect. These are basically kind of like what most people would do with Ubuntu. Masterpiece. Because yeah, you can't talk and type at the same time. So unfortunately, it doesn't like saving, so we can't save Paul, so we gotta say goodbye to him. So, well, what's left? We got some games. Let's go for 4 in a row. This is basically kind of like the Linux version of Connect 4, so let's go right here. We gotta block him, and let's block him again. So, well, Connect 4 is like a pretty fun game. I like playing it. And it plays pretty smoothly, but it's a little jittery because, again, no VMware tools. Let's try the calculator. What is 1 plus 2? 3. Perfect, it can do math. Let's try changing into a scientific calculator. Let's change the mode into, let's go 8. What's 8 squared? 64. So it's just as good as a good old TI-84. Let's see what other places in here. So you've got CD, DVD burner. But let's see about GNOME. What? 2.14 from 2006. Isn't that lovely? I have no idea the current version of GNOME, but I'm sure it's been updated since then. About Ubuntu. Well, this is Dapper Drake 2006 6.06. Pretty nice. And I like this desktop wallpaper. Let's see, like, what other backgrounds do we have here? You got Ubuntu Lagoon. That's the name of this wallpaper. Simple Ubuntu, Dawn of Ubuntu. So let's just go with the good old Ubuntu Lagoon, which is nice. So let's come to the conclusion. Is this a good operating system? Yes. But is it usable? No. You should update to the latest Ubuntu if you really want to use it. But that was a pretty nice trip down memory lane. Please let me know in the comments if you have any memories of using older versions of Ubuntu or other Linux distros like that. So let's just close out of here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, watch, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.